Hey guys, want to welcome you to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesday sales process. That's right, we're going to be focusing on the sales process today. Now, this is not going to be a video about how to make sales or how to get leads and all that kind of stuff. That's not what the conversation is about. I just want to talk about the typical sales process and how we can improve it. So stay tuned and we are going to dive a little bit deeper in the next section. All right, so let's talk about the sales process. And again, this is not how to make sales video. There's multiple videos on the internet about how you can make sales and improve your. What I want to do is talk about the procedure. We're going to go through a typical sales procedure, and we're going to talk about some of the inefficiencies in the context where a CRM system might be able to help you improve that process. So first of all, let's come up with a case scenario here. So we're going to go back with our favorite client, John. Okay, so John Smith. I love Johns. Johns are awesome. So we're going to go with John. We're going to keep sticking with it. So let's just say that John has a business and he's selling shoes, which we talked about in the previous video. So if you haven't already, go back and watch the previous video. What is a CRM system? Well, let's just say that John is selling his shoes and John wants to scale his business up a little bit more. So John is he's trying to communicate with a few companies. Each box here, by the way, is going to represent a company. So we're going to have company A, company B. Okay. Now John is trying to sell to these guys. So before we can get into the details, let's talk about how John is actually getting these companies. So there's a few ways that John could get these companies. Okay. So the first way that he could get these companies is, well, he might have bought a list. Might have been on one of those sites online, and he might have bought one of those internet lists. Hopefully it's from a legal place, but he might have bought a list. So he got a list of all the contacts, companies, the managers, and whatever it is, and that gives them access to the manager's information or the owner's information for each one of these companies. Okay, so in each one of these companies, he has the manager's information. Now, the other way that John might have been able to get these companies is he might have just done it the old-fashioned way and actually just, well, hand out some flyers, right? Still a legit way of actually getting business. So John might have sent some flyers out with some graphic or something and basically got these lists this way. Or he might have done it even harder way, heaven forbid that it's still doing this. And you know, there's companies that are still doing it. It's the cold calling method. Okay. Picks up the phone, he says, "Hey, my name is John and I'm selling you some awesome shoes. Can you buy it?" Sure. Or maybe not. Whatever you want to do. Okay. So John's doing this and you know he's doing all right. But let's just sort of take the scenario up a little bit. So let's say that John is having a conversation with Peter, right? Peter is a mid-level manager, and Peter has communication, but he's not the decision maker. He still needs to take it up to the boss. So the boss is up here, still needs to have a conversation with the boss. All right, so John says, "Okay, sure, no problem. You know what? I'll send you some information, and how about you have a conversation with your boss and you get back to me when you get a chance." All right, so what does John do? John sends off an email. Okay, write an email, right? So John sends off an email. All right, John sends off an email to him, and then he waits for a response. So he hears nothing. So what does he do? He sends another email. Okay, so this is the first email. He sends another email. All right, waits again, nothing. So what does he do? Send a third email. All right, and this could go on and on and on. You get the idea here. But let's just say that we got up to like, I don't know, John's persistent, so he did like 10 emails and still no response from Peter. So finally he picks up the phone, he talks to Peter, he's like, "Hey man, like I thought we had a great conversation. What happened?" Right? Peter says, yeah, I'll get back to you, but you know, I'm just kind of busy right now, so I'll tell you what, why don't we just talk about this in another, I don't know, 6 months or something. Okay? So time passes by. Peter gets busy. You get busy with other stuff because you need to focus on your business, which you should be focusing on your business, right? So you get busy, but you know what, you said, you know what, I'll follow up with John in, I don't know, maybe 8 months or something. So you put it in your little book here. And you got your book and you put it inside of there. You make a note to follow up with Peter in about 6 months' time. And this process, there's nothing really wrong with this process so far, okay? It's okay, but there's nothing really wrong with it. Where the problem starts to come is when you start dealing with volume. Now again, on a smaller scale, there's no issues here, but when you start putting in volume, so let's just say that instead of 3 clients, we have 500 clients, okay? 500 clients. Now we got a problem. Because now these 10 emails translate to, multiple emails, multiple calls, multiple things with, with these companies. And so that becomes a problem. So the inefficiencies of doing this really scales up when we have volume at play. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. So you might say, well, you know what, Dwayne, I don't have a problem. I got sales rep that does this kind of stuff. So they're the ones that actually makes this call. So, okay, fine. John has a couple of sales reps, right? And his sales reps are basically making this call. Now, the first question you want to ask yourself is, do you really want to have your sales rep manually keeping track of all this stuff? It gets time consuming and it gets really hard to track. So, and plus you're not paying them to do that. You're paying them to close deals, all right? So you want to really think about that very carefully. So this is where the CRM system comes in. And again, we talked about this before, but it really driving home that message, right? This is where the CRM system comes in, all right? The CRM system helps you to keep all of that information in one place. Keep all that information in one place. So once you have it in one area, then you're able to get reports. And this is where it gets interesting, okay? So reports. Okay, so what can you get in these reports? Well, for one, you could get the number of calls. Okay, number of calls that your sales guys made. What else can you get out of these reports? Well, you can get the number of emails. Right? And these are important numbers, okay? What else can you do? Well, let's say you close, this is a $500 deal. I keep going back to the number 500. Let's say this is a $500 deal. This is a $1,000 deal, okay? $1,000 deal. You could start keeping track of the size of the deals. Okay, that should be a $sign with deal. Number of deals and the size of deals, okay? You can start keeping. So once you start getting all that information in, then you could start seeing what's going on. You could get a better insight into some of the ways that you could start making changes. So as an example, you might notice that, you know what, for us to get to a deal stage, we actually have to make 15 phone calls and we got to send 10 emails in order to get to one deal, right? One deal. So that might be something that you might notice. So you need to figure out, well, once you have this information, what else can you do with it? And you start thinking. You might also notice that, you know what? These two guys are doing great. This guy here made 2 sales calls for the week. Like, what the hell is going on there? By the way, if that happens, you need to fire that guy right away because that makes no sense. But the point is that you're able to see in this system what's going on. And you might say, well, you know, we could do this the manual way where we have a meeting once a week and we get this information. But the problem is that the data, you can't see the history. You can't see the trends. You can't see the bird's eye view of what's going on. And that is where the CRM system really shines. So I'm hoping that you could start to see some light in terms of the sales process and how you could start using CRM systems to get insight into that data. Now, at the end of the day, what I really want you to take home with this message is that the CRM will help you to find the inefficiencies. Okay? CRM is going to help you to find those inefficiencies and going to help you to improve that business process. And that's the message that we're talking about here. So in this cycle here, you have to be able to see what's going on, especially if you're dealing with 500, 1,000, 200. right? Like once the number goes up, then it starts to get harder for you to manage it. And this is where the CRM system really comes into play. So I hope that's been a little informative. Like I said, we're gonna go a little bit more deeper in the next segment. These are just high level concepts that I want you guys to grasp so we're all on the same page once we start doing these deep dives into the other sessions, okay? So stay tuned for another episode next week, and who knows what we're going to be talking about. I just want you to subscribe to the channel below, and we're going to have awesome content, okay? So have a good one.